Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. We two 40% alcohol gold rums. One is pretty well known and widespread. The distribution is everywhere. The other one is sort of unknown and obscure, relatively unknown and obscure. So this is Ronrico. Ronrico Gold label, it's called. I paid $9.99 for this, and I checked the store recently. Not the store. I checked a store, International Market. See if it'll focus. And they had it for $8.99. So actually, I could have gotten it, but I didn't know that. When I bought it at Winn-Dixie, I thought $9.99 was a good price. I could have gotten it even cheaper per ounce because they had the big bottles, the big handles for $12.99, but I didn't want that much of it. I said, I don't want to be stuck with this stuff. What if I don't like it? But it wasn't too much about not liking it. It was just I didn't want to have so much of it, So yeah, it worked out fine. 2 750 milliliter glass bottles, gold and silver. Yeah, there's a spiced version, I believe, and there's a 151. There might be a black rum, dark rum. I don't know for sure, but the silver and the gold you see everywhere. Now, if you look at the label, it's interesting. If it'll focus, it looks like, yeah, it focused finally. There's a cabana by the seashore. You can see the walkway to the cabana, wooden walkway. And if you look carefully, there's actually drinks set up on the counter with some people drinking, sitting around by the, standing around by the cabana. It's very tiny. Caribbean rum, yes, it's from Puerto Rico. Originally, but today it's made in the U.S. Virgin Islands by Cruzan International. It shows you how far down Ronrico has fallen. Back in the 1960s and 70s, it was probably the second biggest rum brand behind Bacardi. I was looking ahead a lot of magazine ads for it back in those days. And you had your Ronrico people and you had your Bacardi people, and the Bacardi people would never drink this, and the people that love Ronrico would never drink Bacardi. You know how that goes, like your Budweiser and your Miller people. Today it's bottled. It says bottled by the Ronrico Rum Company, Frankfort and Claremont, Kentucky, but there is no such company. It is Beam-Suntory, and they used to have it on the Beam-Suntory website, but something happened with their website. They reformatted the website, and they took down a lot of the what you call less prominent brands. Like they used to have a page for Kessler, they had a page for Ronrico. I might be able to find the archived because there's an archive page for Kessler whiskey. Already had to put the trash out by the street, the garbage, because the waste management company, they've been coming oftentimes between 5:30 and 6 a.m. And I said, man, y'all are early. And the guy told me a few weeks ago, yeah, we come early. Trying to get it over with. So it's got a blue neck, like the sky, get it? The sky blue, then the sand. They've had many interesting labels over the years and many interesting ad campaigns. They had one thing, like their last big thing when they were under, see, there was a Seagram's brand. Somehow Seagram's got control of it, like they did with all kind of people. And they had a big ad campaign in like 1981 where you could win. It was a contest, sweepstakes. And the grand prize was a gold Trans Am or a silver, whichever one you wanted, if you preferred the silver rum. So you could win a gold Trans Am or a silver Trans Am. That was the last model year of that, the most famous Trans Am model in 1981. Then they came out with the new one, the kit car, I call it. But which was popular, but not as big as the, that 1970 to 81 generation. But anyway, well, Ronrico went down when Seagram's went down. You stopped seeing, when I was doing my research, you stopped seeing any real ad campaigns after the early 80s. because Seagram's was like cut, their spending, starting to sell brands to different whoever wants to buy it, and they did go out of business in the year 2000. And they sold Ronrico to Beam. I think they sold Ronrico to Beam in that big sell-off in 90. I said 94, but I think it was 91 when I found the New York Times article, 1991. They sold a bunch of brands to Sazerac and facilities to Sazerac in 89. 2 years later, sold a bunch more of their assets to Jim Beam Company. And then 9 years later, they sold everything and went out of business. And the production was moved. I don't know what happened to the distillery in Puerto Rico. It's probably either could be, who knows, it could be a park or an apartment complex. I don't know what happened. I doubt it's an old closed down distillery. It's probably used for something else. But it says in the back of the bottle, distilled at the Cruzan Rum Distillery, United States Virgin Islands. So there you go. That's a quick history of it. Oh, and one more thing. They still put this on there, even though it's not from Puerto Rico anymore. They put this royal insignia. It's always been on the bottle since always been on there. Been on there since the 1890s. When the King of Spain, they do like that, like they do in England. The King of Spain, I don't know if he liked drinking Ronrico, but he might have been good in cahoots with the family, friends with the family or whatever. And he gave it a royal designation. So Ronrico became, they put that symbol, a rum for the Spanish royalty, the grandees, the royals, and the prominent royal families, the princes and the dukes and all of those people. Okay. In Spain, they call them grandee. Okay. So it's got that on there. Yeah. And it really was established in 1860. I did a trademark research, and the U.S. government first issued a trademark on it in 1860. So they were importing it into the United States right when they started. Now, here's one that doesn't have such a rich history because I couldn't find out anything. This is Calypso Gold. Don't know when it was introduced. I went through like 500 different, took me 30 minutes, different trademarks, and none of them talked about Calypso rum. There was Calypso exercise equipment, Calypso like nutrient supplements, Calypso, those soft drinks like iced tea and stuff, but not the rum. And I don't understand that because it says it's trademark. I think, registered trademark. So I don't get it. Whatever the story on that is, it's got a story on the back about Calypso from the Greek mythology, but on the front it's like a lady, Captain Morgan. So the front label really is not related to the name and doesn't make a lot of sense. She got treasure chest, a sword, and there's another company has Lady Bly rum, same type thing, like a woman, Captain Morgan. Then there's Admiral Nelson, which is like a cheap ripoff of Captain Morgan. But apparently a lot of people like, I know a lot of people like Admiral Nelson. I'm not here to disparage it. I know a lot of people like it because I see it everywhere. And Walmart has it all the time. And people have asked me about Admiral Nelson rum. Like, I don't think it's been around since like the 1950s or 60s. It's owned by Heaven Hill. But I've had people say, well, what do you think about Admiral Nelson rum? And I said, I never had it. Named after a famous British naval commander. Okay, Isle of Fire says the Royal Rum Rascals. Right, that's about it. Thanks for watching the rye whiskey event last night. And here we go. I don't think it's going to be that much of a challenge here this morning. I've only gotten it wrong once and I tied once. And I called it a tie. It was my choice. I said, I'm not going to pick a winner because I couldn't tell the difference. It was one of the other Sazerac brands. And if I can't tell the difference, I'm going to say it. I'm not going to try to just say, well, let me guess. And I got a 50-50 shot. I might get it. No. Try to be honest on these things. I want to be honest. What's the point otherwise? I mean, I'm not winning prizes. I'm not going to, even if I was, I wouldn't cheat. I don't believe in cheating. But there it is. Nice label. Like I say, $8.99 at International Market. And they've got old bottles over there. It's really interesting. That store, their warehouse is amazing because they must have bottles 35, even maybe 40 years old. You go in there and look at brands, and they'll have the new bottles, but they'll have old bottles that's like 30 years old. Label The previous label, the label before that, early times. I'll give you an example. That's a whiskey brand that Sazerac bought a few years ago, and it's still popular, you know. But they got old early times bottles from a long time ago. It's not even the same bottle design, it has a same different kind of name. And then I said, man, one day I might go in there and they'll have early times bourbon. There is a early times bourbon, but I think it's only sold in Europe. So if you ever want to go to an interactive museum where you can buy what's in the museum, straighten up this carpet. If you ever want to go to an interactive museum, go to International Market on Barron Street in Metairie, Louisiana, and it's like a going back in time with a lot of their stuff. But the good thing about it is you don't have to just look; you can buy it, which I did when I saw the Seagram's Canadian Hunter. Seagram's Canadian Hunter, amazing. That was sold to Sazerac in 1989. Of course, it's not called Seagram's anymore. It's just Canadian Hunter. I said, look at this old bottle. And the tastes are different than the current one. Can't say it tasted better, but it's different. And then, oh man, crazy. Oh, and I also, one more thing. I noticed that Clan McGregor came out with a new label. Saw that the other day, 2 days ago at Total Wine and More. New label, still green, you know, like new. It's a new label with a line on it. I'm not too sure I like the label. Doesn't look bad. But I don't know. I don't see why they needed to change Clan McGregor again, but they did. And I didn't buy it because I've got a bunch of it. All right, good day, Ron, says Sam Smalley. Hey, Sam. Good day to you, mate. All right. Now let's get to the taste challenge. He's all the way in Australia, the Commonwealth of Australia. Established in 1901. I might add. Yes. Okay. And I think they do make rum in Australia, but I don't know the brands because they're not sold here to my knowledge. Okay. Of course, I'd try them if I saw them, if the price was, you know, decent. Okay. So one is gold, the Ronrico, and one is pale straw, like the palest gold you ever wanted to see, almost like they call that white gold, you know, the jewelry. So I don't think they're adding color into this Calypso. I doubt they're adding color into this, but it's possible because if you read the law, you don't have to tell people if you add color into rum. You don't have to tell people if you add flavoring to rum. You can add flavoring to it, and you don't have to tell anybody. I mean, obviously, you would have to have it on record with the government. You know, they have liquor inspectors that. Wouldn't you like that job? Be a liquor inspector? I guess you could get the job. Probably have to travel all around, but some people love traveling, so that'd be cool. Let the government pay for your trips. Get to go all around the country to distilleries. And they say, what are you doing? I'm inspecting. All right. I'll have to sample it too to make sure it's okay. You know, can't put bad stuff out there. All right. Now, meat inspector. I don't know if I want to be a meat inspector because you got to be in all these slaughterhouses all the time. I can't stand to smell the butcher shop and all that raw meat and all, or a fish inspector, seafood, all that raw seafood. Oh, whatever. Some people got their own preferences, you know, probably a good job, get a good retirement and so forth and yada, 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 like they used to say on Seinfeld. All right. Here we go. It smells like Calypso, and I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. Dry. Now, I know you can't smell sweet and dry. Theoretically, you can't. but you can really, because you can smell what's going to taste sweet and you can smell what's going to be dry, meaning not sweet. So you can kind of like tell. No, I mean, anyhow, I think that's the Calypso, which I purchased for $5.89 at Ralston Liquors in Houston, Texas, last year, 2022. I bought the silver and the gold, $5.89 each, and that's a deal. Oh, see, now I noticed the Ronrico. It's got this like sort of richness to it. Like you can smell like this molasses pickup is a pickup of molasses. It isn't profound or strong or predominant anything, but you can pick it up. It's kind of like when I do those Scotch whiskeys, like you'll say, "Whoa, that has a little bit of smoke, but it's so minimal, but it has a little bit." But then you know what's what, you know which is which, because then the other one on the left hand side, it doesn't have any smoke. Like you said, I know that one that has no smokiness. So then you win. But let's taste it just. But I'm leaning that this has got to be Calypso. But I want to be safe. Better safe than sorry. Yeah. Oh man, Calypso. Got it. Now, why did I go? And I just knew, like it's so dry. It is the driest rum I've ever had. The least sweet rum. And why is it like that? I don't know why it's like that. That's the way they make it. It's from Kentucky, not exactly a world destination for rum. People don't say let's go on a family trip, or I guess it would be more like a husband and wife trip. Let's go on a trip and we'll tour, because honey, how we love going drinking all these different rums and tasting them and so forth. Let's go to some rum distilleries. Well, where are people going to go? They're going to go to Jamaica. They're going to go to Puerto Rico. They might go to Cuba if they're allowed to go there, the Virgin Islands, and that kind of thing. Barbados, another big destination. I don't know if too many people are going to say, let's go to Kentucky. Yeah, they're going to go to Kentucky for, bourbon. Would you be, you would be an awesome inspector, Ronald J. Yep, that's my middle initial J. People ask, where'd that come from? I say it's just an initial, letter J. But you know how people do. My mother turned it into a nickname, Jay, but it's not technically part of my name at all. Well, people always doing that kind of stuff. Like this lady I work with, her child's name is, I think, Jaden. But what does she call him? Jay. So ding, 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 ding. William is Bill, and Jonathan is Johnny, and la, 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 la. All right. We do have a winner. And I'm going to say I prefer the Ronrico. Is it better? To me, it's better, but then you might say, oh, no, I want that dry one. Then you might think this is better. $4 difference? Oh, no. $3 difference. $3.10 difference. Now, international market has it for $8.99. Is it likely that you're going to find it anywhere else for $8.99? Very unlikely. Not going to. If you see it $9.99, that's not too surprising. Although I bought it years ago for that price. And if you see it for $10.99, yeah, that would be, expected. $11.99, you might think, hey, maybe somebody's charging too much. But if you really want it, get the handle, the big bottle, because you're going to get more and you're going to pay less per ounce. Unit pricing. Some people are baffled by this. I see people in the grocery store, they're baffled by it. It's like a turning lane on a 4-lane highway. Can't figure it out. You tell them, it's like, well, that's $9.99, but the handle is $16.99. You're going to come out ahead because you're going to drink it like you say, well, They say, I love Taka vodka. Okay, fine. Some people do. I don't drink vodka, so but and they say, but I'm gonna buy the cheaper one. But you're actually buying the more expensive one. You got to think in long term, which people don't do. Unfortunately, it's like their house note. Whatever their house note, they pay that exact amount. And I tell people, if you pay extra every month, you could pay that house note down real fast because you're going to be applying it to the principal. Just pay extra $100 a month. And I know they can afford it because they're going, we went to buy you whatever, where they do the water slides and all that, Blue Bayou water park. And then they went here every weekend. They going somewhere spending, it's a lot of money going to the movies, always going to the movies, none of which I'm disparaging, you understand, and always out to eat, always drinking prepackaged coffee from like Starbucks and all. And I'm thinking, man, that's a lot of money you pay. I said, you could maybe not do all of that every month. I'm not saying you got to live like you in poverty, but here you 25 years old and you got a house note that's going to take you to your 55 to pay off. But you could start paying extra, and maybe you could just make your own coffee at home and, make your own sandwich at home. And then now when you pay off the house and you're 40 years old, 15 years later, can you imagine how much money you would have each month if you don't have to pay rent or a house note? You could make moderate income and you'd be living like you're rich compared to other people who are not living that way, but might make 3 times what you make. Okay, but anyway, it's just to get to that mental that mental, that cognitive realization of it, the calculation of it. All right. Anyway, and that principle applies to the rum bottle side, unit pricing. And the funny thing about it, you don't have to calculate it because usually in the store, they got the price on the tag. Like literally in front of you, it'll say blank per ounce. I've showed that to so many people over the years and they are amazed. Like they never knew that was there. I'm like, yeah, it's right there. Don't you watch public television? Well, the answer is usually no. But it's right there per ounce. And if something's 8 cents per ounce and the other thing is 6 cents per ounce, that one's cheaper. Okay. All right. We got it. Well, maybe you don't got it. I got it. I got it. I got it. I don't got it. All right. Yeah. It's got a richer flavor, but I'm not going to say it's way better, but it's better to me. My opinion, I think it's better. Ronrico, is it the best? No. Can it compete with Bacardi? No, not really. And some people will slag on Bacardi. You hear people say, oh, Bacardi, that's the worst. Oh, give me a break. I'll never buy that. I'm just so erudite when it comes to rum. Well, that's amazing, but Bacardi's not bad. What are you talking about? I think Bacardi is really good, especially when you consider a price you're paying, But Ronrico's all right. Have they downgraded the quality of the product since the brand has been downgraded? It's possible. No way for me to know. I never tried it in the 70s or the 80s, so I have no basis, nothing to base it on. I can only taste what they're putting out now. But what they're putting out now, I can only go by what they're putting out now. But what they're putting out now seems fine to me. Fine. You heard what I say? Fine. Not, it's so good. Just fine. And a lot of liquor, a lot of wine, and a lot of beer is like that. It's fine. That's it. It's fine. I don't know why everything has to be amazing. I don't understand. I never could understand that in like the craft beer world, where it's like this chasing a fantasy. You see they want to buy. The worst thing is the ones that don't drink it. They want to buy every beer, every fancy beer, and they don't drink it. I'm like, why you don't drink these beers? Oh, I paid $26 for that. And Oh, I bought that in 2017. It's very hard to find. I said, well, why did you buy it though? I mean, you bought it to drink or to show everybody what you had. I don't get that. I'm not putting that down. I don't understand it. It doesn't compute in my mind. But in the craft beer world, you got these people chasing. And everything has to be amazing. Everything they drink has to be amazing. They can't drink anything that's just fine, Like they go to a barbecue, they can't just drink a beer. It's got to be amazing. Which is fine, I guess, especially if you're paying for it, but I don't know why everything got to be amazing. I love the price per ounce labels, especially if I'm on a budget. Most people should be on a budget. I make a budget every month. I write it down too. It's in this notepad. I don't do it on a computer because it doesn't take any time. I mean, it takes no time to just write it. Use a ruler, make the lines. I mean, it takes 10 minutes. Maybe 15 if I'm going slow. And I just sit, I make a budget. Here's how much money I'm expected to make, which is always accurate. And here's my expenses. You want the top number to be bigger than the lower number, right? Common sense. Here's what you make. Here's what you're going to spend. You want the bottom number to be lower than the bigger number. And then you have what? A positive, now you wind up with extra money at the end. You don't want it to come out as a negative number, which a lot of people do. And they'll say, I'm just going to put it on my credit card. Bad decision. Habitual hasty decisions. Yeah, I've talked to people. I don't lecture them at work. I say, you got credit card? Because I'll hear them saying, oh, I can't make it. And I'm under so much stress and so forth. I said, well, you got credit card? Oh yeah, I got to pay this down. I'll try to, subtly say, there's a good way to deal with it. Sometimes they'll receive it, agree with it, may not implement it, but they'll agree with it. Or if they implemented it, they could really come out on top. I'll tell you what. It's like exercise, I know people that theoretically exercise. In other words, they exercise in their mind. I'm going to exercise. I'm in a club. They join a club. I know a guy at work. He's in a club. Pays fee every month. There's only one little problem. He doesn't go to the club. He doesn't actually exercise. It's all theoretics. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to lose weight. Going to lose weight. But it never happens because there's no implementation of the procedure. I did lose weight. I'm not bragging. I did do it. It took willpower, of course. I said, look, So I lost over 35 pounds. I didn't like having a big chubby belly. And I couldn't button this shirt. If I tried to button this shirt, it was like, or look like being strangulated. But now, button it, got extra room. And they tell me at work, how do you stay so skinny? I'm not really skinny, but how do you stay? I say, management. It's a management. That's all it is. Is it easy? No, not easy. Is it possible? I'm talking to you, ain't I? I'm telling you what happened. I created a calendar-based budget on an Excel spreadsheet that can simply be adjusted every day. Yeah, see? So I do mine monthly. Been doing it since 1990. Seems to be working out. Yeah. All right. Calypso. What do I consider Calypso a success? I do. Within a certain context, you understand. I'm not saying, oh, what a amazing discovery. Nothing like that. The amazing part is that it was $5.89 and I don't hate it. And in fact, it's pretty good. Now, I think if you couldn't tell somebody what you paid for because some people They say, oh, it's terrible. You know, they never tried it, but it's terrible. You have to do blind taste tests. Say, try this. What is it? Oh, no, just try it. They might taste it. Oh, that's rum, huh? Yes. What do you think about it? It's pretty good. It's pretty good. What is it? And you show them Calypso. Ooh, you know, ooh. I knew there was something I didn't like about it. Oh, yeah, you say that after I show you the bottle. All right, well, come back tomorrow. Friday was Friday. So tomorrow, Friday, do another rum taste challenge. And it'll be Bacardi Gold. It won't be a challenge. If you don't watch it, I won't take it personally because you're not going to see anything. You're going to see Bacardi win easily. Then Bacardi Major Laser, same thing. Won't be a challenge. Major Laser, they only made that for a few years. It's a special recipe. Won't be a challenge. There's no way. It's impossible that Calypso can win that. And then the final one will be Castillo. Castillo is a budget brand from Bacardi. But a lot of people that are in the know, you know what I mean? They know that Castillo is way cheaper. And some people claim, I don't believe it, but some people claim it's even better than Bacardi. I don't believe that, but I do believe it's a great value. But Calypso got no chance. So we're going to close out with 3 defeats. I'm telling you now, Calypso's going to lose and then lose and then lose. And then we off to tequila. And I think that's going to be fascinating, to tell you the truth. All right, well, that's it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And it's not broken, I'm not fixing it. I'm going to do my budget for December. Obviously, I'm going to bring in Christmas money because Christmas time. So give gifts to people and all of that. I'm going to be able to afford it. Most people I give gifts to, they don't want a gift. You know what I'm saying? It's like, they don't need it. They don't want it. If you give it to them, they're not going to use it. They'll be like, oh, hey, you know, like, I'm do this. I don't want gifts. When people bring me a gift, I'm usually dreading it. Usually it's a book because they know I read books. And they'll give me a book about some, you know, they know I like history. And it'll be about something I don't care about. Like, oh, look, the history of the war between Paraguay and Brazil in 1930 something. I'm like, oh, yeah, I heard about that war. The Chaco War, I think it was called. And I say, oh, well, I guess I'm going to read it because, you know, they're going to ask about it. Most people I know, they want money. If I give them money, they happy. You know, it's like they like money because then they can buy what they want with it. My father, I said, what you want for Christmas? Nothing. He's not saying that to be like modest. He doesn't want anything. And I'm the same way. I don't want anything. And then people will give me liquor, you know, like, and I appreciate it, but I got so much here. When am I drinking? Oh, how'd you like that bourbon I gave you? I don't know. Ask me in 2037 because, you know, it's like stressful, but you know what I mean? All right. Give me, I don't know. I don't need anything. All right. Anyway, thanks everybody.